everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Fitness Education Series produced by the Australian Fitness Academy. It's like progressive overload for your brain. I'm your host, Tom Rock, and we've got Becc here today.
Hey guys.
Beck's back. Thought I'd bring Becc in. We have a good chat about nutrition. It came up in the office. We always love talking about scope of practice and meal plans and how to educate clients and all sorts of stuff. But Becc, she's an expert, dealt with lots of clients, done a lot of nutrition stuff herself, so loves the nutrition topic. So we thought we'd bring her in and talk about meal plans. I'm of the opinion that they're unnecessary, and you can definitely give your client probably better information without a specific meal plan that gives them education. But yeah, it's good to weigh the pros and cons, because I think a lot of people out in the industry want a specific meal plan. It's technically, it is outside of scope for a personal trainer to give a specific meal plan, but that's where I think referrals to dietitians and things can work really well. But that's enough for me. Becc, what do you got for us? Where do you want to start?
So I thought like a good question to kind of start with is kind of like, do we really need a meal plan? Working in the industry for 12 years, or when I was in the industry, I guess working as a PT, it was 12 years there. A lot of the time I would have clients or potentially new clients reach out to me, and sometimes the first question was, hi, do you do meal plans? Or I want a meal plan.
Yep.
As a personal trainer, I wasn't able to provide them with a meal plan.
Yep.
So I went down the route of wanting to educate my clients more on making their own choices around food. At first, some people may not have liked that because they did just want a meal plan. If they did, well, I would refer them out for something that way. But I think looking at the, the cons of a meal plan for me.
You think, just before we go on, do you think that clients ask for that because they don't know an alternative?
Yes, and I think it is thrown around a lot in the industry, especially through social media, of meal plans and what people are eating. So if someone is quite uneducated, they don't really know where to start or where to begin. So that's where they're just hoping that to get the results that they need, they just need someone to tell them what to eat.
Just tell them exactly what to eat, when to eat. Yep, cool. So I think that's a misconception potentially too, that clients just have no education. So they're going, oh, can I have a meal plan? It's like, and they don't understand the difference between a specific meal plan and potentially what they actually need.
Yep. And I think even for myself, like I have done meal plans. I have been on rigid meal plans, which were great. They got me results when I needed them, especially when I was doing bodybuilding competitions.
Cool.
But when that goal was gone, or when I was put in a scenario where I didn't have my meal plan, or I was doing a social event, I almost got very overwhelmed and I didn't know how to approach the situation, what food choices to make. Even though I knew what's healthy potentially or what's going to serve me better, when I didn't have that meal or I didn't have that plan in place, I really struggled.
That's
so
cool.
It did take me quite a while to, I feel, build that back up again. And when I started being more flexible with my food, I was able to enjoy social events and occasions. And I think being able to educate clients on making their own choices gave them the power to be able to, when it comes to weekends, go out and enjoy some food with friends while still being able to get the results that they're after as well.
Yeah, awesome. I think, obviously we're sort of touching on the cons of a meal plan now, which is good, but I think that's where people want a meal plan, but it actually doesn't really apply to a lot of situations, especially in general health. And if someone is following a meal plan and then, they can't follow a meal plan for the rest of their life, for example. So you want to have variety and options. And if we don't give them an understanding, or they don't ever get educated about how to apply general healthy nutrition, it's very hard once they go, oh, I don't have a specific meal plan.
Yeah. So I think sometimes like a meal plan can have its place in that it can help by giving a baseline or a starting I guess area for the client to potentially, if they don't know how to structure or they don't know how to eat correctly, like some people don't know what a healthy meal looks like, or how to structure their day with, say, a breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between. They haven't seen that before. So there might be space and reason for a client to go down that way, and that's where we can look to refer them out as well.
Yeah, I think referrals would definitely play a big part if they do need a specific meal plan or they're absolutely unsure what to do, or there's certain circumstances, whether they're vegetarian or things like that, that we need to refer them to a dietitian. I think, like you said, if someone's never done it, perhaps they ask for a specific meal plan, or they're like, well, what should I eat? They just have no idea how to structure it.
Yep.
So while I think, and it's always a grey area in our industry about can I give meal plans, and PT, you'll see people doing it when they're technically not qualified and
Yep.
things like that. But I think sample meal plans are sort of the grey area where because technically for the scope of practice we have to go by the Eat for Health guidelines and
Yep.
and teaching clients about the government endorsed guidelines. On the website, the Eat for Health website, there's actually sample meal plans up there.
Yes, yeah. So I think being able to provide a client with a sample meal plan or guide
Yep.
might be the best way, or could be a good option for that client that originally might have thought, hey, I need a meal plan.
Yep.
To kind of delve into why they need a meal plan, or why they think they need a meal plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, talk to them about why and why not they don't need a meal plan, but generally they're probably just after healthy ideas. Like if they don't know
Yep.
what to eat for breakfast, they go, well, I need a meal plan. It's like, well, here's like 4 options of healthy breakfasts.
Yep.
Pick which one you like and potentially what you can stick to. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Flexibility allows them to stick to things.
Yep. And if you stick to it, then you're going to see results as well. Like how many times does we start a rigid meal plan on, say, a Monday, and then what happens by the Thursday or the Friday, or a social event comes up and we don't know what to do from there.
Yep.
So I think being more educated and more aware, and especially being able to educate our clients on how to structure their own meals and make choices that align with their goals is going to definitely see them getting results.
That's cool. I think the choices to align with their goals is really important. Like it's great to have a meal plan, but like you said at the start, once it gets to the weekend or social events, they don't know what to do and how to potentially go, okay, if this is what situation I am in and I eat this, how does that compare and what impact does that have, and how can I minimize the impact on my results? But I think it allows for that flexibility. If they have an understanding, though, that they can go out on the weekend, have a few things, go to a party, and not stress themselves out.
Yeah, and I think what I found most important as a personal trainer over years was understanding that our clients are mostly general population too. So they have events, they have social gatherings. They're not giving up all of those. So being able to assist that client in how they can navigate those social events and what they can potentially do during those social events without missing out, I think is important as well.
Yeah, that's cool. So I think it comes down to like providing, like giving clients advice on different tools and techniques to maximize their healthy nutrition and reach their goals without having to give them a really rigid meal plan that they think they have to follow day in, day out. Probably takes a lot of time to meal prep and all these sort of things that they've never sort of done. So yeah. What's your number one, like what's your top sort of tools and tips do you think for clients outside of a meal plan, which we know is probably not great?
Yeah, yep. So I've had clients that might look to provide me or write down what they're eating day to day. So keep a food diary.
Cool.
And then I can either look to sit down with that client and we can potentially have a look through what they are eating. And then from there, I might be able to make some recommendations of, hey, like, look, there's quite a lot of discretionary foods going on there. Let's reduce that. Let's increase some fruit or some vegetable intake and going that way too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think meal plans are really, not meal plans, like food diaries are a really cool option to get an insight into what a client's eating, but also to give them a bit of a reflection. Because a lot of the time, if you've never thought about and put it on paper, you don't really understand what you're intaking. And then I find when you go through it with them, like you said, it's easy to go, oh, well, instead of the donut, maybe have a banana. And that's not a meal plan, and you're just providing suggestions. So it's a great option to get them to start thinking about how to eat healthier without just giving them a piece of paper and hope they follow it.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah, exactly. And I think when I would start with a new client as well, or I had a new client come on board, I would always start with, hey, I want you to this week just write down every single day what you eat. I don't care if you have McDonald's this week. I mean, like I do, but like let's write it down. Let's be honest. And then we go through the structure. And during that structure, I would try to find something positive about it. It might be that, oh, it's really great to see that you're having your breakfast, or you're having some fruit, or some vegetables. We don't want to pick apart. Well, I believe you don't want to pick apart everything that they're consuming there too. Yeah,
I think that's a good point. Is that's what probably another kind of a meal plan is, that there's probably a complete overhaul of every single habit, all their whole diet, where it's like you want to do little things at a time. If they're eating a good breakfast, or their breakfast could be slightly better, focus on that before you start focusing on
and it
other
can
meals.
Be small changes weekly. So yes, they might want quick, fast results, but sometimes those quick, fast results aren't attainable as well. So if we're able to start making slow, progressive changes to their diet, and it also works with their training as well, they will see results and continue to be able to see those results as well. So even I looked at a lot of like habit stacking. Habit stacking would go with their nutrition, but also their training too. But for example, it might be, okay, this week I want you for 7 days straight, just focus on your fruit. I want you to aim to have 2 serves of fruit a day. If you do, you're going to tick off this marker. They would have it in their app, so they were able to tick that they consumed their fruit.
Unreal.
Then I might look at another area that they might be struggling with their nutrition, and it might be that they weren't having enough vegetables, or they weren't having enough protein. So for week 2, they're now focusing on fruit and protein as an example. And over 6 weeks, they're slowly just adding a new habit that they're focusing on, building on these habits. And then 6 weeks, they've now kind of they're able to make all these changes themselves without even realizing, because it's just become a habit, and it's just become part of their day-to-day structure and routine.
Habit stacking. I love it, Becc. That's so good.
So I like that. And I would incorporate that with, I guess, if they wanted to add steps or cardio or their training, it might be as well. So.
Cool. I think that's important nutritionally and like you said, exercise related, because especially when you combine the two, and a lot of people will come in, especially if they haven't trained before, and they go, I want to be fit, I'm ready to change, and they just try to do everything at once. And sometimes that can be detrimental. I've sort of had people I've worked with in the past, they just come in, they probably almost go too hard too early on everything, and they just, after 2 or 3 weeks, they just drop off. They just go back to old habits.
Yeah, especially if you've come from not doing much as well. Or if you've come from, I guess, there hasn't been much structure with your diet, or you're making what we might consider some poor food choices, trying to do the full overhaul. And I see people do it regularly, especially people in my family or people around me. They're like, Monday starts, I'm cutting out all sugar, I'm cutting out all bad foods, and I'm just going to eat chicken, rice, and broccoli, as an example. Full bro diet, bodybuilder diet. But I find, they might stick to it for a week or two, but it all kind of starts to fall apart a little bit as well. Yeah,
and generally you need to be consistent, not for like 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. It's more like 6 months to a year to see good lasting results, I think. So, very cool. Habit stacking. Thanks, Becc.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thanks for having me.
Always good to chat. Lots of good stuff in there about nutrition, and probably the need that shows that you don't need a specific meal plan. I think you can get lots out of clients, probably more benefit just educating them rather than nutrition.
Exactly.
Excellent. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Hope you got a bit out of that one. If you have any questions in regards to this episode, or any questions for Becc or me, or you've got any topics or questions you'd like us to discuss, send an email to tom@afa.com.au, and we're happy to cover anything you guys want to chat about. Other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you all soon. See you later, Becc.
Bye.